welcome to a hot afternoon in central Mississippi. Boy, I'm going to tell you what, today it is hot, folks, especially when we got us a good fire burning out here. The other videos we've done in the past have been a little different. The ingredients have been like quail or some other kind of things. So today we thought we would do something very simple with you, and let's talk beef. Just pure beef. Now, I don't know about the rest of you, but here lately I've had a problem finding bone-in anything, whether it's bone-in chops or bone-in ribeyes. Maybe it's just our area, but we've had a hard time in finding those, folks. You know, meat, you want to make sure you buy a good meat, a good quality meat. All right, meat is expensive anyway, so it's not much difference between something that's choice or better. And get the better one if you can. Look for your marbling in the meat, little white specks. Okay, look for all of that, folks. And then when you get them, you want to trim off any of this big old fat. We want the fat, and I love the fat, folks. And the fat's a big thing to me, but if you have too much, you're not going to be able to render it down and still have a good cook on your steak. So you want to trim off a little of this hard excess fat. And again, the fat to me, as well as the bone, you know, that's one thing that gets me. I love the bone, and I'm getting, it's like I say, it's getting harder and harder for me to find good bone-in pork chops or bone-in steaks. Folks, these are about a 2-inch cut, boneless ribeye, and this is my favorite cut of beef. And that's just the way I am. I just love a ribeye. A lot of people are New York strip kind of people, but I'm a ribeye, and I'm a bone-in ribeye guy, folks. So beef, good quality beef, doesn't need a lot of treatment. Okay, one of the things that I do, a lot of other people do this, and a lot of people they say it doesn't make any difference, but me and a few people love lime juice. So I like to put a little lime juice on here, rub this in, and typically I'll do this about 30 minutes before I decide to put it on. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to speed this up a little bit. But we want to put some of the lime juice. You will not taste the lime juice, folks. I guarantee you, you're not going to taste it, but it will help tenderize the meat. The acidity in the lime juice works its magic in there. All right, folks. And you also want to let your beef come up to room temperature before you put it on. Make sure you do that. Don't have it real cold and go throw it on the fire real quick. Let it come up good. Now for these today, all I'm going to do is a little salt and pepper. And that's all. Okay? I'm going to salt these up fairly good. And if you got a good thick piece of meat, you got to remember you got the edges you need to take care of too. Be sure you get all your salt on there good. And I can't stress it enough, folks, to let this come up to room temperature and buy a good quality cut of meat. If you're going to buy a ribeye steak, don't buy one that's 1/2 inch thick, because you think you're saving money. You're not going to like it. Go ahead and get you a good one. It's not that much more. Get you a good ribeye. And now we're going to do a little bit with the pepper. And folks, with a piece of meat this big, you can be fairly generous with your seasoning. If you want to use the steak sauce, there's many of them out there, and there's a lot of them that are really good. But I'm a salt and pepper on my steak kind of guy, and that's just the way I have been typically. I'm not a big steak sauce kind of person. I'm not a big steak seasoning person. I just love beef, and I like to get the flavor of that beef. You'll be surprised what a fire will do in a little smoke. Fire to me, I often tell people, it has a magic to it. It makes things go really well. Okay, folks, let's get ready to put these on the pit. We're going to do a whole meal for you here this evening. But we're going to get ready to put these on there. I've got oak going in here, and I've got a good hearty fire going. And we want to get these good and seared off. And depending on where our coals are, there's a lot of stuff about, well, how many times do you flip them? Do you flip them? Folks, I may flip mine a couple of times. I don't use a meat hook. I just go and use a pair of tongs and turn them over. I don't like to pierce the sear once I've got it. The other thing that I can tell you that you need to do is learn your smoker. Learn how to cook on it the best way. This right here is my temperature rod. I know that if I stick this and I pull the vent down to there, that I'm gonna cook really good at that. And if I about half gate this up here, I know off experience, and I've had this smoker probably going on 20 plus years. So I've cooked a lot of meat on here and I've learned it. But learn your smoker. I'm a stick wood guy, okay? So I have sticks in here, and yes, I have a few thermometers that have been in there for 20 years. I don't know if they're accurate or not. I use them as a relative measurement, but I don't know if they're accurate. But be sure to learn whatever kind of equipment and grill you have outside, be sure to learn how that goes. All right, folks, I said we're gonna do a meal. We're gonna flip out here, and we're gonna got some broccoli florets in this sheet metal pan. And to these broccoli florets, we've got a half a stick of butter. And we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of dried diced onions. And a tablespoon of dried garlic. A good pinch of pepper. And a little bit of salt, folks. We've got some salted butter that's in here and not unsalted butter. So we're gonna get a little salt flavor from that. And we wanna steam these on the pit. And the butter is gonna give us some moisture. But in here I have a half a cup of water. I'm gonna put that half a cup of water in there just so that we can add some steam to it. And I am going to get this aluminum foil sealed up on it really good. Now you can do this in any type pan you want, but if you put this on a fire like I do, because I'm a stick burn guy, the pan's gonna get kind of ugly and it's gonna be kind of hard to clean. I'm gonna get a good seal on it, hold the moisture in. And because that's a thin metal pan, we've got an old metal grate here that used to be a griddle at one time. We've got that in the center of our grill, and that's what I'm gonna set this on. And this will be about done about the same time as steaks, because we're only gonna wanna do these al dente, folks. We don't wanna really just make soup out of them, and we don't really make them mushy. So while me and Emmett cook these steaks, y'all take a break and watch these few pictures that I'm gonna show you. We'll be back shortly and see you what we got. Hey folks, welcome back to the backyard. We've got these 2 ribeyes cooked off. Now folks, it's just my belief, but I like a rare to medium rare cut of beef. It hurts me, and it hurts me deeply when somebody wants a real well cooked ribeye or real well cooked steak when I'm out cooking for people. It just hurts me something terribly. So we took these off. I don't typically use a temperature probe or anything. I do it by touch. And I can pretty much tell when they're about done. These are going to be on the rare side, but that's the way I like them, folks. So I'm going to get Lisa to step up here with the camera for a minute, and I'm going to cut into one of these. They've been resting about 5 or 8 minutes up here. I don't really care about any kind of there you go, folks. How's that? And I don't really care about grill marks. I really just care about the way the steak looks on the outside and the sear. You don't want your flames to actually be coming up and touching your steak. It can get kind of bitter. So you want to have good white or red coals in there depending on the time of day. If it's during the middle of the day, the coals are going to look white. If it's at night, the coals may look red, obviously. But you want to always let rest your steak, bring it up to room temperature before you cook it, and you'll be really pleased with the end result. And a lot of people might think that's a little blue, but that's to my taste. We also are making a whole meal out here, folks, because you can make this meal in the backyard. We did this broccoli and the onion mixture. That's what our broccoli is going to look like, and it's just al dente. It's not really too tight and too firm, but it is in here. I want to talk just a minute about dried spices. I use dried spices in this, dried onion and dried garlic. A lot of times when we're out cooking, because we do cook a fair amount on our chuck wagon, your availability of fresh ingredients sometimes is difficult, and you have to learn how to use canned, jarred, bottled. You have to learn how to use some of that so that you remove the canned flavor from it and you can brighten it up and make it seem fresh. Because 90% of the time you're within an hour of a store, but there are those times when you're really away from the store and you can't go grab something if you're in a bind. But folks, it's very simple to make a nice meal just like this. Broccoli and a steak. You can't beat it. One thing before we go, we were working in the backyard and I found something. I'm gonna step up here. That's given by HOA, folks. I don't know how many people ever remember a pull tab on a Coke can or a beer. That is from way back in my childhood. So believe it or not, this is probably an antique, but found this digging in the backyard. Thought it was unique that we found it, but just one of those things. Emmett said we've had a long time on this video. We need to be going. Weather's kind of hot. So folks, as we end every video you got, enjoy your food.